Hey, Daniel Seraph here. So today I'm going to show you how I make really quick, really great backing tracks using Ableton Live. I'm going to show you some drum loops that I use, how I lay down guitar parts and bass parts, and I'm going to show you how quick and easy and efficient it can be, and also how much fun it can be, so stay tuned. Hey, Daniel Seraph here. Every week on this channel, I'm sharing with you the things that I've learned over the last 15 years as a professional guitarist and educator, and sharing them with you, the intermediate guitarist, so you can learn everything that you need to know in order to improve. So if you're new to this channel, make sure you go ahead, you hit that subscribe button, give me a thumbs up, and make sure to ding that bell so you know every time I upload a new video. So in this video, I'm going to show you today how I quickly make really great backing tracks in Ableton Live. It's such a great program. It's so easy to use, and I want to share with you how I'm going to do this. So I have a student, a client, a friend who has requested these two backing tracks, hired me to record them for him, and yeah, we're going to jump in. I'm going to show you my process and how I like to do it. All right, let's dig in. Okay, so many times I like to use kind of some pre-recorded drum loops. I've purchased a lot from Looploft over the years. It's a great website, and I highly recommend their loops. But also sometimes I'll use MIDI drums. I have Superior Drummer that I like to use, and it just really depends on kind of the situation. This particular client I know really digs Nate Smith, as everyone should, because he's such an amazing drummer. And so I decided to go ahead and use some Nate Smith drums. So I've got two of them right here. We're going to drop them in. Let's go ahead and we'll start this screen share so that you can see this. Okay, and I actually had the loops on a different hard drive, which is kind of noisy, so I went ahead, I put them on my desktop. But here are two different loops that come with the Nate Smith package here. And there we are. So you can see I just dragged that loop straight into Ableton Live here, and I have this template set up for my purposes of, like, if I'm in a lesson I can create backing tracks incredibly quickly for my students, or if I'm just trying to be creative, I have this template saved. If you're familiar with Ableton Live, then you know how amazingly simple it is to just save your own templates and make it really fit your creativity. So I have these two drum grooves. I think I like the first one. Let me check the second one though. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and say that I actually like the second one better. I'm gonna delete this first one. So the student requested, he wanted some kind of tracks to work on his altered dominant playing, right? So we're gonna play both in major and minor. I'm gonna make two loops here. So I'm gonna go ahead, I'm gonna duplicate this, boom, and these are gonna be two entirely separate loops that I'm gonna do. And I was brainstorming what key we should do it in. So I'm thinking that the key of maybe A minor is a good one. Everybody loves that key. And then maybe D major, okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm basically going to make a 4-bar progression, because what we're doing here is we're trying to get him working out his altered ideas. And then specifically we're going to put his altered ideas as a 5 chord in the 4th measure, right? So it's going to be like the 1 chord, the 1 chord, the 1 chord, and then the 5. Let's see how that fits. I think it's going to work beautifully. All right, so let me grab a guitar and I'll quickly walk you through my guitar setup. All right, so we're back, and I decided to grab my PRS Hollow Body 2. I just think this is such a fantastic guitar. Gonna give it a little tune up. Of course, you don't want to record without tuning first. This guitar stays in tune fairly well, but I'm kind of a compulsive person for tuning. Now, so I've got this guitar plugged into a couple of drive pedals, and then those are in the front of the amp. So I've got a Benson preamp. Right now I have the Origin Effects Revival Drive Compact, and then that going into a Vertex Boost, which is controlled by my volume pedal. There we go, we got some sound. Cool. Okay, so that then is going into my 2-rock traditional clean. It's in 100 watt mode right now, so it sounds pretty big and huge. Okay, so then that goes into my aux box, and my aux box is kind of being used pretty interestingly right now. I've got one output of the aux box going directly into my tube preamp that then goes into Ableton, right? So that's like the dry setup. And then I have the other side of the aux box going into a Strymon Volante. And I chose the Strymon Volante because it sounds amazing, but also it's got a line level switch. So it's you can choose instrument or line level, right? And so then that goes into a Specular Tempest in stereo, and then a Big Sky in stereo, and then stereo out of that. So it starts mono on the Volante, goes stereo to Specular Tempest, stereo to Big Sky, and then stereo into my tube pre into Ableton. And you can see it here in my console settings. And I have this channel right here, analog 7 is my dry signal, which you could hear. So that's just the aux box and the 2-rock. Pretty cool. And then here's the stereo left and right. I have them panned hard. Oh, right now it's not. There we go. They're actually a little off balance. Let's figure them out. There we go. That's better. So now the reason that I do this is so that when I'm recording, it's really cool. I can get in and I can record, you know, with as much reverb, delay, any kind of modulation effects as I want, but then later I can go back and I can kind of retweak it and say, all right, does this fit? Is this too much? And then I can actually blend the dry and the wet, right? So this is technically a wet, dry, wet rig. And man, it sounds really killer. Especially when you get some, you know, things floating around a little bit. So that's like a little bit of delay from the Volante. And then some verb from the Big Sky. Pretty cool. All right. The tools are fun, but they're kind of dangerous because sometimes you just get washed out and it's like, whoa, sounds insane, right? Okay, so let's come back to planet Earth and get this track done. So I'm going to go back to Ableton here. And I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to listen to the drums for a sec. So you'll notice that I'm arming these tracks. They're 10, I guess 10 and 11. They're the guitar parts that I have centered down the center, you know, pan center. And one of them is that dry input, and one of them's the wet input. Cool. Okay, so let's do the one in, I think in A minor first, okay? And so what we're going to do is we're going to play 3 bars of A minor and then 1 bar of this altered dominant sound. I'm going to use an E7 sharp 9, sharp 5 for this first guitar part. Let's see what happens. Okay, so I always play a little past. I also try to play ahead as well. All right. Alright, so I like layers. I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna add a little kind of like muted guitar part in the middle pickup position. And I think we'll see what happens. It's all an experiment, that I can say. See how that went. I like it. All right, so I'm gonna do kind of a similar idea, but I'm gonna do it up an octave. Something like that. I think it's gonna be about the same line, just up an octave. Missed it. There we go. Okay. Alright, so those are just little ornaments that kind of like give it a little bit of vibe. I'm just gonna duck those a little bit because the main guitar part Alright, cool. So like the main guitar part's fine. But I'm gonna like comp a little bit more and I'm gonna make it kind of like a little bit of a cooler vibe. I think that it could have some more mojo. And so what I mean specifically by that is I'm gonna add some 9s, I'm gonna add some 11s, and I'm just gonna like accompany a little bit. And maybe I'll play a little bit longer as well because I don't want it to sound too loopy, right? I mean, it's a practice track. It's not meant to be like a glorious art form, but it is supposed to be inspiring, right? It's supposed to still be fun. So let's see. I'm gonna go ahead. I'm gonna arm this middle guitar again and get that neck pickup sound going. I'm actually turning on a Specular Tempest for this great, this great little room verb. Let's see how this goes. Yeah, there we go. I think that's cooler. Let's see. Oh, definitely. And I mean, we can't have Nate Smith too quiet. That dude just sounds so good. There we go. Okay. I love how even in a backing track, when you take just a couple like simple parts and just pan them hard left and right, man, it sounds cool. All right, what are we missing? We're missing the bass. Let me go grab the bass real quick. Okay, so I have a bunch of guitar students, right? And one interesting thing when we start talking about bass, or they end up picking up the bass and they want to explore it, is they play really guitar oriented, right? And I've been guilty of it myself for sure. I'm trying to be a very respectful bass player these days, and I don't have a lot of chops, but I can make it happen. And one big thing is just trying to make it groove and have some kind of rhythmic vitality. That's like so incredibly important, right? But realistically, the bass needs to support the rest of the band. It's like that entity that lives between the drums and like the other instrumentation. It's like really like the gateway to rhythm, and it's just such an important entity. Now, in regards to like harmonically what's happening, again, we have 3 measures of A minor and 1 measure of E altered, right? So the bass needs to pretty much play those notes, and then it can decorate them a little bit, but that's going to be like great if it just like even plays only that. We want the level nice, but not too hot. Okay. I think that's going to be cool. Let's see what happens. All right. Always got to check your work. So you'll notice I actually played 16 bars of bass, and one reason is I don't want it to sound too loopy, right? So sometimes I'll play those longer phrases just to make it have some kind of things that kind of like roll over on themselves. And Ableton's amazing in that way that it just makes everything kind of work seamlessly together. Whether you have one thing that's 2 measures long, something that's 4 measures long, even 6, even if it were 5 measures long, it would loop and eventually come back around, I mean, it's just an amazing program. Okay. We got a track. I think that's going to work. All right, let's go ahead. We're going to get in here and we're going to do this major one. Again, I just duplicated that drum, so that's going to be the only thing that's there. And we're kind of going to go ahead and start over, right? But real quick, I won't talk as much this time, and I'll show you how like amazingly quickly you can really do this. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and lay the bass down first. Even though I'm not the greatest bass player, I got it in my hands, I might as well play it. So I think I said earlier in the video we were going to do this one in the key of D major. All right, so that's going to be so it's going to be 3 bars of D major, and then the 5 chord in the key of D is A, and that's where we're going to put some alteredness on it. Okay, let's see what we got. See if I can start this with the bass and drums. Probably gonna work fine. This one, I want a little bit more chanky chank on it. So I think it's gonna be cool. I think that main guitar part is gonna be nice and chanky and pretty. Let's see what happens. All right, so I should already be in tune. Everything should be pretty good. So I'm just playing this F-shaped D major 7 chord up here. Sounds pretty nice. That'll be our D major. And then let me think about, you know, something that'll transition nicely. You know, maybe something, I want something altered, you know, so I kind of actually want a sharp 5. Woo. Could grab this bad boy. There are lots of cool chords up there. Maybe that's one. Again, this guitar part I actually don't want to be too fancy. I want it to be like chanky. Let's see what happens. You know something really important? Click that save button. I haven't saved it yet. We're gonna call this major and minor 5-1 motion. All right? Boom. Hey, so if you're digging what I'm doing here and you haven't subscribed, make sure to do that. And also, if you have any questions so far, happy to answer them. Just post a comment below. Cool. So I'm gonna make this one different. I actually want some like kind of like more ambient textures. So I'm gonna do that on the left side, and I'm gonna try not to have too much delay and verb, but I want it to kind of be airy sounding. Okay. I'm digging that. That's a cool vibe, kind of like light and airy. Pretty cool. So again, it's just like ambient little texture. Might turn up the one that has the delay and verb up. Yeah. Okay, so I'm actually gonna use the exact same chords on the guitar on the right here, and I put some crazy Strymon Big Sky. Let's see what happens with this. This could be pretty cool, I think. It might be too much. It might totally be too much. We'll see. Up an octave. Pretty cool. It's not too much. And I'm crazy. So I'm actually going to put a little extra on in. You can see me doing that inside of Ableton here. Very fun. Because I really just want them to be pads. right, there we go. Thank you so much for checking out this video. I hope you dug it. If you have any questions about any of this stuff, like any other ways like how I use Ableton, this is real quick but really fun. Just showing you like, hey, gotta make a backing track for somebody, this is how I would do it, and just make it super dope and have fun doing it, that's for sure. So again, if you haven't subscribed, make sure you click that subscribe button. Any questions, you're welcome to ask me. And if you're interested in more lessons, more free material, go ahead, head over to danielserif.com, DANIELSERIFF. It's like sheriff with no H. .com. Link is below. Go ahead and check out my free lessons, and thanks for watching, and I will see you again soon.